what about your energy? Like, how do you protect your energy, right? You got to protect your energy from the people that are sometimes the closest to you.
Yeah. How do we protect our energy, John?
I'm a big proponent of people doing what's called psychic self-defense, which is to create healthy boundaries, to make sure that you use your words. We teach kids to use their words, like use your words, don't just react, you find your words. Well, as adults, we need to find our words. And I think that we have,
I've never actually heard that.
yeah, yeah, we need to
Your
find,
words.
use your words. So one of the things that I'm kind of known for is as a Libra, Libras are known to be very direct and blunt at times. I'm very good at confrontation. So, like when somebody oversteps a boundary and they kind of think that they can say that, I'll call that out. Like, and that'll be anywhere. So, like if I'm doing an event and I'm reading for someone, and I know that this person is there because they want me to read for them, and now I'm bringing through that person's person, and I'm not saying the things that they want me to say. I'm giving them the validations of what actually is coming through, which to me is my job. There'll be a little bit of a push pull. So once the reveal happens that it is the person they wanted to hear from, the information is factual, I will then go, now let's just unpack why did it take us 10 minutes to get you to say, yes, that's my mom. Yes, that's my husband. Yes, that's my daughter, because really what they have to do is confront their grief in the moment. But energetically, it's now taking time away from other people in a group setting. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating a boundary for the rest of the people. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. And if it's in my personal life, if somebody says something, I'll be like, you know what, this is kind of really bothering me. I need to address this. So when you said this, it makes me feel like this. So did you mean that? Because if you mean that, then I want to unpack that. And then I'm very good at like icing people out. Like I'm the person who's like, if this isn't working, we're done. And growing up in a, I'm half Italian, half Irish, but like growing up in a very Italian big, my mom was one of 11 people, 11 siblings, big family. It's just not how everything is. You got to make sure you respect. You have to do this. You have to do that. So I grew up in this is what you do. This is how you have to do. You have to respect your elders. You have to do that. This one has to be invited. Your mom's not here anymore. So you have to be the representation of that. And I became that person that said, nope, I'm not doing that.
So, how does that work? Because if I iced everyone that was inappropriate, I'd have nobody. And I remember you actually, you were the one who told me a couple years ago, you have to get really comfortable being alone.
Yep.
And I feel like I get more alone every friggin' day. You couldn't be more accurate. Um, but one of the things that I battle that I think a lot of the people in the Heal Squad probably battle is we're also taught to be empathetic.
Right.
And one of the things that astrologically that I do love about myself is I'm very fair. I'm very like fair. I see both sides. And that is not a popular thing because I really can see both sides
Right.
99% of the time. And so, even in recent situations, I can be extremely hurt by somebody, but I can also see what their makeup is that's making them act that way. And so I can have empathy to a degree where I'm like, okay, this is somebody who's so desperate to make it. I'm not there. So we're on very different pages. So they're willing to cut my throat and do anything they can, take from me, do whatever, just so that they can get ahead. I don't know. Maybe I had elements of that when I was first starting out. I don't know that I was like that. So I'm like, who knows? I can't go back in time and say, hey guys, did I ever do that to you? Or was I ever too aggressive or too excited that I, pushed somebody away? I have to have empathy to realize that maybe that could be true.
You can have empathy about what they're doing, and you can have empathy about how they're evolving in their own space, but you don't have to tolerate it in yours.
Mm,
You don't have to allow that energy to kind of navigate. So I always like to think about we're in a kitchen and you're making your favorite Greek dish, right? and that person comes in and they don't really know anything because they're not great. They don't know what goes in, they don't know how it's supposed to be. And then they come into the kitchen and you give them a taste of whatever it is, and they say, oh my god, this needs cinnamon. And you're like, actually, it doesn't call for that, and this is a family generational recipe, so I'm so excited for you to actually taste this. And they walk over to your cabinet, they take out cinnamon and dump it in. That's the reaction that I see in energy.
Wow.
So don't allow somebody to season your energy in a way that you've created the recipe for your life. So you
Mm.
want to make sure that you're like, no, 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 no. If you would like to add cinnamon to your dish, I'm totally down with that. But over here, no, we're going to do it like this. So you're creating a boundary where you're letting that person know it's not okay. And I think that sometimes when people are on a journey, and you've been on an amazing journey for the last decade, I mean, privately, we've had some great conversations.
Hmm.
Publicly, you're so vulnerable. And so you're so transparent and so like, hey, listen, I've done this so you don't have to. And like, I've done this. And because I've done this, I want to make sure you don't have to. You're open and creating. Well, that invites people to recognize your kindness as weakness
Ugh, I
in
know.
some capacity, makes them think like, oh, she's such a healing spiritual being. You know, I'm just going to do this and it's going to be okay because she would say it's okay. And then in that moment, you have to be the person to be like, bitch, no. Like I might be spiritual and I might be nice, but I'm also here having a human experience with you. And I'm sorry if you're going to bring my vibration down to the level that I need to communicate with you on this level, then this is probably going to be the last time that we're going to communicate. And I've had that. Like I've had people that I've had great professional relationships with, and then all of a sudden there's a lack of appreciation or there's a lack of understanding about what maybe I've brought into their world energetically. And an expectation of, well, I want more, or I should be doing this, or I'm not appreciated, or I'm not this. And that's my cue. I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. We're done here. So, but that's come from a lot of years of having a lot of experiences where
Yeah.
you sit back and go, is it me? Like, is it me? I need to do some self-reflection because there's a long list of people here who,
Yeah, I really try, John. I
no, I
do.
know.
Oh
I
my gosh.
know.
With therapy, I'm like, okay, so am I a narcissist? And she's like, the very reason you're asking that is why I know you're not. And I'm like,
Exactly. Because no narcissist would ask if they're a narcissist, right? No crazy person goes, am I crazy? So you just be crazy. So I think what you do is you recognize, and this is what I've done in just for years, right? You recognize that you shine it. We all should shine a big light and be as good a human as we possibly can and stand in that light, be in alignment with who we are, know why you're here, right? One of the reasons why the Evolve platform was important for me to do it is because I know that I'm only one little corner of teaching for a person. And I know that if I can get them to have their astrological chart done, that's going to give them a window into like what their actual lessons are.
a huge window.
Huge window, right? And then kind of like it's a diagnostic tool for understanding. Well, once you have that diagnosis, now there's an action that maybe you can work on, right? But that has nothing to do with me talking to grandma. So for me, I'm good with what I do, but I also know my limitations and know when
Mm,
it's time to send that person on to somebody else. And maybe somebody needs to be working on meditation and mindfulness. And so I'm like, okay, so you need to be working coaching one-on-one with Melanie Whitney because she's going to be the person who's going to like break you down to the core wounds as a child and say, where is this coming from? I don't do that. I'll get an aspect of that in a reading and go, you need to work with this person. So
yeah.
one of the things we have to recognize in our lives is that if I was to try to be those people, I would now be doing a disservice to the people that are coming to me. So when you look at that on your own level, right, for the listeners listening to watching this, you have to think about, I can't fix everybody. I can't rescue everybody. I can't save everybody, but I can maybe give them the tools. And then that's when people will be annoyed at you because they're going to be like, well, you've got this, you've got that, you did this, you did that, do it for me. It's like, nobody can do it.
Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.